Hey everybody, Thomas Morgan here with 1031navigator.com. This episode is a mini-sode. It is an excerpt pulled from our recent conversation with Erin Crowley from Asset Preservation Inc. Asset Preservation is one of the largest qualified intermediaries in the country. This episode explores a specific listener 1031 question. And remember, if you're looking to move from a management-intensive property or a low or no income property into a secure, long-term net lease property that provides peace of mind, then go to 1031navigator.com/free, and I'd be happy to provide a free 1031 replacement property consultation. I only do a couple of these a month, and right now I only have one left. You can go to 1031navigator.com/free. Enjoy the show. And along the same lines, Erin, as the LLCs, can I 1031 exchange into an existing property that I own?
No. No. You cannot do that, or you cannot exchange into a property that a relative owns, or you cannot exchange into a property that you own more than 50% of. So could you be a partnership and have 50% of something? 50% you can, 50-50.
Okay.
But 51 is too much. So there's
an exception if you owned 25% of a property and you wanted to increase your ownership stake.
If you own put it this way, if you wanted to buy from a property that you own 25%, you could buy from that, and buy the remaining 75% or something like that.
And that's a property that you already own.
Because you're buying tenants in common, you're buying the other three out. And if you're buying the other three out, you're going to end up with that's a whole nother subject. But if somebody says, I want to buy into my brother has this LLC, I want to buy into it, can I? No. You must go from tenant in common into tenant in common. Can you buy into their property? Yes. But they're going to have to carve out a share of that and actually deed you a percentage. Giving you a percentage of the LLC doesn't work. You came out of a property, you have to go into a property. So it gets very confusing with people. They want to buy a partnership or buy into a partnership.
But you have to already be structured as a TIC on the replacement property.
Right, because they can't buy into an LLC. So I say if the LLC will sell you a fee simple interest, and now you're partner with LLC owning 2/3 and you own 1/3, yes.
Okay.
But if your name if you're trying to buy into the LLC, then no.
And then if you've already bought a property or you own an apartment building and you're like, well, I just want to exchange my money into my apartment building and pay off some debt.
No.
That doesn't work.
No. And I always have to qualify with no, not typically.
Not typically, unless you did a reverse exchange. Which would...
That wouldn't make it, because at reverse, we're parking in... You're doing a reverse because you can already buy it. What would be the instance that you could? There are very tricky ways of doing something. If somebody owns a piece of property and they want to build on it, there are some ways of setting up some long-term leases and doing some improvement exchanges where you can possibly build on land that you own. They're quite complicated. I can't go into it now, but there's ways. But no, typically no. No, you're not going to be able to buy something you already own. You're not going to build on something you already own typically, and you can't buy from a relative typically, unless your relative is also exchanging. So there's always a caveat. That's why I have to say that.
Right.
If I want to buy Dad's property, I can, as long as Dad's going to go buy something else and exchange out of it.
That does it for today's listener question. Hopefully you got some real value out of that. To ask your own commercial and investment real estate question related to 1031 exchanges and or triple net properties or other passive income real estate, please visit 1031navigator.com/ask. Again, that's 1031navigator.com/ask. You can also leave a question by leaving a direct voicemail at the podcast hotline 970-300-1994. Again, ask your question by leaving a voicemail at 970-300-1994. Thanks for listening to the 1031 Exchange Passive Income and Investment Series. Hopefully it's helping you create, build, and protect your wealth. Talk to you soon.
And remember, this show is provided for your informational and educational purposes only. Be sure to check with your accountant, lawyer, and or other tax professionals and advisors before relying on this information. Although the information contained herein is believed to be accurate and reliable, we do not guarantee its accuracy or completeness, and it is provided without warranty. Common sense is the best practice.